So every now and then I see people ask the question, try to put together the best possible starting five you can in the NBA today. And then they'll pull out the usual suspects, LeBron James and James Harden and Steph Curry or Westbrook or whoever. Personally, I think that's a little boring, okay? It doesn't require much creativity, not much imagination, kind of like my team mode in 2K. So I don't really like that question. However, let me flip it a little bit. Try to create the best possible starting five you can with only one star player. Because now you have to really think about the team you want to put together. You can't favor too much on one side because you just can't pick great players all willy-nilly. You got to think about it a little bit more. And I ask you guys to do the same. Pick a starting five with a star player surrounded by four guys who aren't a star. That's all I care about. 1 sixth man and a head coach to run the whole thing. Okay? And I ask for creativity here, okay? I mean, look, if you want to do LeBron James coached by Greg Popovich, you can do that, but I'm probably going to judge you just a little bit. Just a little bit, I'll be honest. So, let me try to think of a couple of teams myself. Well, how about my star player is Steph Curry? Okay, Steph Curry is my point guard, he's my star player. Now, Curry gives me everything I need offensively at that position. However, he is leaving a little to be desired on defense. So, let's have my shooting guard be Wesley Matthews. Matches Curry with his shooting, and by the way, just for the sake of this, everybody's healthy, okay? Let's not take this too seriously. Matthews gives me the shooting, so now I probably have the best shooting backcourt in the league, but also his defense helps me out with Curry. Small forward, we'll go with DeMarre Carroll. D&3 guy, matches the shooting of them. Now I can spread the floor a bit more. My power forward, I'm actually going to go with a more conventional power forward. We're going to go with Taj Gibson to continue the defense. He can still stretch it out to about 15 feet. This way, when Curry drives inside, he's got guys who he can pass to at all times. My center, we'll say Tyson Chandler. I don't think Tyson Chandler is a star player. I think he's just a really good center. This way, basically, when Curry drives inside, he's always going to have somebody to pass the ball off to. For my sixth man, I want to go with Paul Pierce because I do still like the ability to have someone available for the small ball four because you want to be able to get creative. Now, a head coach to run this whole thing, well, I'll be honest. Curry's the one real ball handler I have, so he's going to do a lot of the creating. So I want to go with Rick Carlisle as my head coach because Carlisle's offense is mainly dependent on give and go. So you give the ball up and then you go run, whether it be along the baseline, you run across some screens. The offense is constantly moving, and because I have guys who can shoot, I can do this. And when I bring Paul Pierce in the game off the bench, that really allows me to go crazy with a Carlisle's offense. So essentially, my team is a bunch of guys who can defend as well as shoot, surrounding Steph Curry, coached by a guy who is very good at getting everyone involved in the offense. And his offense will work because everyone can shoot. Well, besides, Tyson Chandler, but I mean, we don't need him shooting. How about another one? Let me try to think of a right team to surround Carmelo Anthony with. Of course, I can't give him a second star, but I can still do a lot. How about for the point guard, we're going to go with George Hill. Decent defender, can run the fast break, averaged 16 points a game this year. Remember that. I'm getting that George Hill. Shooting guard, we're going to go with Danny Green. So my backcourt is a very good shooting one. It's solid defensively, and it's an experienced, smart, composed backcourt. Of course, small forward, Carmelo Anthony. Power forward, we're going to go with Paul Millsap. Personally, okay, how about this? For this particular discussion, Paul Millsap's not a star, okay? If we have any fringe guys like Millsap or Jeff Teague or Chandler Parsons, you guys can have him as your other player next to your star, okay? Let's not get too crazy, all right? I think we all know the difference between, Chris Paul and, I don't know, Chandler Parsons. We can tell the difference, okay? So we don't have to get too strict on who's a star. So, George Hill, Danny Green, Carmelo Anthony, Paul Millsap, Center, because Millsap, while I love Millsap, he does leave a little bit to be desired on the boards and his just natural size. So for the center position, we're going to go with Rudy Gobert, who's pretty much like the only guy I could find who's not a star player yet who does what he does well. Gobert does leave something to be desired on offense, but I think the rest of the team can make up for that. And for the sixth man, I'm going to surprise y'all a little bit. I'm going to go with John Henson of the Milwaukee Bucks, who is a backup center. Henson very quietly became one of the smartest and better defensive bigs in the NBA last season. Averaged 2 blocks a game. Fits in very well in Jason Kidd's idea of defense, which is a lot of mobility from your center. And the reason I'm going with Henson is because I like the idea of having Gobert starting, but then Henson coming off the bench to continue the defense. Also, I have to make up for the fact that Paul Millsap at times will just be flat out too small, depending on who we're going up against. And for a second, I thought to put Tristan Thompson in this role. However, Henson's just a better defender and a smarter offensive player, whereas Thompson is just a great rebounder. But Henson's still 6'11", so his size is good enough. Now this team, George Hill, Danny Green, Carmelo Anthony, Paul Millsap, and Rudy Gobert, with John Henson off the bench, this team is full of guys who, under the right coach, can be great because I think their skill sets can play off of each other. So we're going to go with Brad Stevens of my favorite team, the Boston Celtics, because he's the perfect type of coach to just draw up the exact plays needed for this team to win. Because, I mean, the shooting and the defense that this team had, surrounded by Carmelo Anthony, I think this team could be really good. So I think I'm going to stop it there. I came up with 2 teams, but I think you guys can see where I'm trying to go with this. So try to be creative. Try to put together the best starting 5 you can with only 1 star player. Think of a 6th man. Think of a head coach. And let's just see what y'all can come up with. I'm interested to see it.